My mornings on this small family farm usually start with me getting up between 6 and 6:30, and I'll take the dogs out to go to the bathroom. I'll feed and water them, feed and water the cats, make sure they're all settled. Then I'll head outdoors and let the chickens out. I don't have an automatic door yet, but that is something that I'll be getting soon. I make sure that they have fresh, cool water, especially during these hot days, and fresh food. I also spoil them with a snack in the afternoon. I feed and water the horses and make sure they're all settled, and then I'll head back inside. I did have a few things that I needed to do this morning, cleaning up the kitchen because I did leave it a little bit of a mess last night. And then I'll head outside and harvest anything that I need. I did have a couple squashes that needed to be harvested this morning, and this is not my traditional veggie bed. I made a mistake a few years ago and put too much chicken waste in my flower bed. And if you know anything about flowers, you cannot put too much nitrogen in it. So I had to plant some squash here just to eat up that nitrogen. And then next year, these flower beds are going to be ripped out and rebuilt. And then I get to put in my beautiful dahlias and all my bulbs that I love so much. Now, I did have another thing that I had to do. I needed to get the horse feed unloaded, so I got that put back in the barn. And then my husband wanted to do one outdoor project before it started to get too hot, and that was expanding the dog run. Now, what we did was put some T-posts up and used some fencing and just kind of gave them a bigger space. They are traditionally out unless I'm walking them. They are out on a stationary leash, and they're able to kind of go to the bathroom, play a little bit, but they don't have free rein. Because we do have horses, we don't want them getting into the horse pen to unfortunately get themselves hurt. And then we also have a lot of farm animals around on other properties, and our property backs up to a horse or a cow pasture. And those cows, they come right up to the fence. And so we want to make sure that they're safe and our dogs are safe. And I think it turned out pretty good. They absolutely love it. And it was a success for the day. So let's go inside and see what the recipe is for the day. The dogs are eating ice. Hey everyone, welcome back. Well, it is still super hot here in Denver. And actually, it's cooler here than it is in the city of Denver. But my husband leaves tomorrow on a business trip, and he always gets mad at me because I make pizzas when he's not home, because it's usually something that our daughter likes. And so tonight I'm going to be making some pizzas, even though it's super warm. But hopefully we have a storm coming in and it'll cool down a little bit. But this is a really easy pizza. You don't have to pre-bake it. You can cook it in a cast iron. You can cook it on a pizza stone. You can cook it in a pizza oven. You can cook it in your smoker or on your grill. I'm just going to be sticking mine in the oven, and it's super easy. Now, what we're going to start with is going to be, I don't know, 2/3 cup flour. Now you can use bread flour or you can use all-purpose flour. Either one will work. One cup. All right, 1 cup. 1/3. And 2. So 2 2/3 cup flour. Next is going to be 1 1/2, 3/4 teaspoon salt. One 1/2 teaspoon of white sugar. If this would open. 1 and 1/2. Active starter. Now you can use 2 1/4 teaspoon, or you can use 1 packet. 1, 2, and 1/4. Now this is the fun part. You're going to add in, if you want, and I love, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. The wind is starting to pick up. And 1/2 teaspoon of basil. I like basil, so I'm going to put in a little more. All right, now to that, we're going to do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All right. And then 3/4 cup warm water. Okay. And then basically all you're going to do is stir that around, and then you're going to let that rise for an hour and a half. Now, when it comes to the seasonings for the inside, for the actual pizza dough, you can use whatever you like. If you want to do Italian seasonings, you can do that. If you want to stick with the basil, if you want to do something a little saltier, but I've got tricks for that once we start getting this all dressed. Now, it is going to be super shaggy, and I am actually going to add a little bit more water to this. And a little bit more. Now again, we live in the Rocky Mountain area, and so our elevation is much higher, so things are a lot drier here than they are where I'm sure you are. So you're probably not going to want to add so much water. Just depends on your elevation. All right, you want to get it to where it's starting to pull away from the bowl and forms a nice ball. And I'm going to get my hands in here just to make sure that that is all incorporated. All right, so it's going to be like that. And then we're going to go ahead and let that sit in a warm kitchen. If you're doing this during the holidays, obviously you're going to want your house at least 70 degrees, or as mine is today, 90. And let that sit. Okay, sorry about that. So typically this size of dough with 2 1/2 cups of flour in here will give you about 3 sizes of pizzas. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to divide, and we are going to go ahead and get this rolled out. It is very, very sticky. And we're just going to spread it out with our fingers and try to do as much as you can. Now, if you're a pizza dough roller, more power to you. I am not. So I just spread this out with my fingers. Get that nice out there. And you want to make sure that you're not going to roll it too thin. Because you don't want holes to poke through it. Now, like I was saying before, you don't have to pre-cook this. You're going to put your toppings right on here, and we're going to stick this in the oven. Now, this will puff up quite a bit. And then what you're going to do before you put any of your toppings on, you're just going to get some score holes in here because it is going to bubble. You don't want it to bubble up all of your toppings. Now, for your pizza sauce, you can obviously buy pre-made pizza sauce. You can make it yourself. I make it somewhat myself. I just get tomato sauce and add all of my yummy flavors, garlic, salt, onion, and some Italian seasonings. Now, this one is for my daughter. She likes just a margarita pizza, no meat on it. She just likes vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead and get some cheese. Spread that around for her. And while we're doing this, we are preheating our oven to 450. And it's going to cook for about 12 to 15 minutes. She likes tomatoes. Oh, well, that one went on the floor. That's what happens when I don't cut them completely. And you saw me earlier picking some basil. We are adding some basil on here for her as well. All my sticky fingers. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to put on here, second to the last thing, is going to be this pizza seasoning and some fresh garlic clove. She doesn't know I put garlic on it, but it's good for her. So a little bit of these seasonings, and all it is the Italian seasoning, salt, and chili peppers. And that just adds a little extra. You can also put that down on the base part before you put your sauce on. All right, we got that one done. Might be a little too much garlic for her, but oh well. And now we'll do this one. Today is the first day of preseason, and guess what game we're watching? The San Francisco 49ers and the Denver Broncos. Any guess who's ahead? No guess from my husband. He's quiet. All right. Get this spread out. And it will spring back, obviously. So just like when you do tortillas, you're just going to keep working the dough. Or you can use a rolling pin. Totally up to you. If you do get little holes in there, just pinch them. All right. Now let's get some sauce on there. All right. Get his garlic on there. Get his cheeses. And he likes sausage and pepperoni and all the yummy stuff. What I have in the house today is pepperoni, some andouille sausage, and I did them two ways. I did ground andouille sausage, and then I did some slices. And we'll see what she likes. he also likes tomatoes on there, so we'll get some tomatoes on there for him. Okay, and he likes tomatoes and basil, so we'll just put a couple tomatoes on there, not the one that's on the floor, and some basil. Oh, we forgot to poke holes, didn't we? That's okay. I knew I was looking over there for something. So just go through if you forget and just stab your pizza. Okay. And these are going to go in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. You're going to watch the sides as they start to turn a golden brown, then you'll want to pull them. And they will puff up, so just keep a close eye on them. Woo! They look amazing. Super easy to try. Try different ingredients. If you don't like tomato sauce, use pesto, use olive oil. Get fancy with it, get fun with it, but just do it because it's a whole lot better than store-bought pizza. Have a great night.